who put that information out there about Andrew Gilliam. You know, I'm not gonna say her name. Y'all know who this black lady is, and she's out here caping for the man at every chance she get. But I'm not gonna say her name on these airways because please don't go to her YouTube page and click on her and all this hate, because what you do is you put a little more money in her pocket. But when you sit out and like me and my cousin Chris, shout out to my cousin Chris who listens to the show all the time. Man, love to you, Chris. Thank you very much. Down there in Atlanta, Georgia. Much love, my cousin. But when you listen to people like this woman and others who simply hate themselves and always caping for a system that has nothing to do with them, then you have to realize, you have to wonder, where did all this self-hate come from? Where in the hell did the self-hate come from? Because it's only one way for you to sit up and tell half-truths, which is a whole lie. A half-truth is an entire lie about people in our community. I could sit up and tell you, man, black on black crime is outrageous here in Chicago. And the violence here is unnecessary. And I can do that. But I can also tell you this. People with things to do. Anytime you define anything around a people who don't have a lot, what you've done is push them closer and closer, as my guest earlier today said, towards the darkness. When you heard these bro mice your whole life, idle mind makes it's the devil's workshop. Get something to do before stop doing that before some trouble finds. Get something to do before some trouble finds you. Those things are real. And in Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Atlanta, Dallas, or wherever our communities have migrated to, the reoccurring thing is defunding. They would rather put $5 billion in the police department than to put $100 million, $200 million, $300 million into the schools, so kids will have academic aspirations other than nefarious activities. If you don't understand what I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. My sisters were musically inclined. Both my sisters played the clarinet. Both my sisters played the piccolo. And I think one of them played the flute, which is pretty much the same thing, but that's neither here nor there. I saw that. I wanted to play the saxophone. My cousin Eric played the saxophone. I wanted to play the saxophone and the trumpet. You had to be age 10 to get in the band. That's 4th grade here in Chicago. I don't know what it is anywhere else. By the time I turned 10 and my mom went to buy the mouthpiece for the trumpet and the mouthpiece for the reed for the clarinet, the saxophone, they defunded the music program. I immediately turned to sports, but you'd have never met me, and that's not a bad thing. You may have never met me. I could have been the next Miles Davis. I could have been the next Dizzy Gillespie. I could have been the next Coltrane. I could have been the next anything. Or that line of work, that line of discipline, the practice that you need to become a great musician may have pushed me and motivated me to be a better athlete than I was, because then I understood the focus and all that. It could have just been a trickle-down situation. Understand, when you're musically inclined, I used to have an anger management problem. That could have been something as a release to my anger and my frustration. These are the reasons you see so much random violence in the city of Chicago. These are the reasons you see so much random violence in places like Los Angeles and New York and other places. Because when you take away opportunities for people to release their creativity is bottled up inside these young people, and they lash out and hurt others because they don't have any other way to do it. We call it trauma. You can call it PTSD. You can call it whatever you want. But I bet you, if people like myself and others had other ways to release these things, then and only then you would see a reduction in violence. So please don't buy into the hype. Yes, Brother George Floyd, like back to that lady, Brother George Floyd did have a criminal past. But guess what? If Brother George Floyd would have robbed that store that he left out of, that he allegedly gave a fake 22, that we found out that it wasn't a fake 20, it was a mistake. Had he robbed that store, he shouldn't have been killed in the street. Had the brother up in Kenosha, just north of me, Kenosha, Wisconsin, had he slapped that cop, he should have been shot in his back 7 times. And when you're dealing with people who can try to justify, when you're dealing with people from your community that try to justify any type of violence engaged or enacted, I should say, in regards to your people, then that's a sick individual. That's a self-hatred individual. And that's a person who's looking for approval or acknowledgement from somebody who hates them, which is a mental illness in itself. So we have to stop listening to people who give us pieces of the truth. You walk around with a computer in your hand every day. It's either a toy or a tool. So when somebody gives you some nonsense, then you look it up and you move forward in regards to the information that you find. Don't just look at the first thing, because as I told y'all before, there are algorithms out there that are pushing information that's nefarious towards us on a regular basis. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is look up Kamala Harris. The very first thing that will come up about Sister Kamala, probably, if you Google Sister Kamala Harris, first thing that'll come up, and I'm doing it as I'm saying it, I bet you the first thing you see about her is something about her conviction rate with the state of California. That'll be one of the first things you see about her. Well, today it's a tribute to Ruth Bader Ginsburg and things of that nature. So that's at the top of the show. But as you look into this, I guarantee you that'll be one of the first things you'll see. Somebody died yesterday, so of course those are things that are not going to be. That's going to be at the top of the food chain. But in most cases, you bring up her conviction record with brothers in our community. Now, do I want my brothers and sisters locked up? No. But if your ass is out here selling cocaine, heroin, weed, barbiturates, and whatever else you selling nefariously, and you get caught and you go to jail, hey man, don't play a game in which the people who run the game can change the rules anytime they feel like it. That's what I got to say to you. I have fractured the law or two in my day. I'm not proud of it. I'm one of the stupidest human beings in the history of the world, because I've never had to break any laws in my life, and I chose to. So this is why I understand that you can do something stupid at all times. No matter what your situation is, stupidity can follow you down the street and tap you on the shoulder. You be like, hey, what's up, stupid? I'll just hang out for a little while. And that's exactly what I did. But I can't get mad at Kamala Harris because she locked my black ass up. What I got to do is get mad because I had proper leadership in my house, proper leadership with my coaches, proper leadership with good homies around me, and I still chose the wrong way. Now, do we want our brothers and sisters locked up? No. But if you're going to just point out what Kamala Harris did as a prosecutor, also talk about that program that she stated it was $43,000 a year to house a prisoner, but it was $6,800 a year to retrain somebody to cut down on the recidivism rate. Nobody talks about that. See, we got to stop just going, see, she said this is right. That's why the dude in office tricks these stupid ass people into following him. Because y'all keep listening to big dummies and not doing no research. See, a lot of people, they give me some compliments or whatever. Hey, Rap, I really like your show. You're a smart brother. What you said was deep. Nah, I just come from an era in which that was called common sense. And now it's nonsense. So now we surrounded by people who immersed in nonsense. So now when Rap come up and say something basic or something that sounds smart, Rap sounds smarter than he is when I'm just a regular dude. But you bombarded with stupidity all day. So when you get the beacon of light on something that is relatively intelligent, you think he a deep brother. No, I'm just a regular dude who's sick of the nonsense. Period. It's either, it ain't no more common sense, it's common nonsense. Different topic, but trainer Piranha Lewis died yesterday. I've talked about him on this show. Man, rest in peace to him too. Man, god damn, there's too many good people going. But again, this is what I'm talking about. We have to, this is why you must be engaged. Because that's one thing I like about RC being in my show. He brings information. If I make a mistake, RC will correct the mistake. He ain't in here flow showing, man, shut up, HRap, you don't know what you're talking about. Hey, bruh, this is what it is. And this is how we grow to be stronger. Now, if you don't want that information, then it's something really wrong with you. Because the only way you're going to get better is to try, make mistakes, pick yourself up, and move forward. But back to Sister Harris, Sister Gainsbourg, and everybody in our community. We must engage because while everybody, you got people like the lady who named, I will never speak on my show because she's a piece of trash. She's a devil too, just like the president, just like the top cop, and just like the vice president, just like Mitch McConnell. And the reason I'm not going to say that sister's name is because those are identified with devils. I'm never going to say nothing bad about. I'm not never going to say nothing bad about somebody in our community. Just like everybody else do, I'm covering up our mess too. Nah. Yeah, I said nah, like a kid, but that's how silly this whole get down is. But back to what I was saying. When you think your vote don't count, you ruin the opportunity for Gainsbourg. Like, it's a lot of people that saying, my vote don't count. But I bet you, everybody who says my vote don't count got a cousin, a friend, or a neighbor who's been wrongfully convicted of something, wrongfully prosecuted about something, or done time for something they did not do, right? And you go to appeal that. Seeing how your president, Donald J. Trump, has put in damn near 300 judges, federal judges on the bench, those white nationalist dudes and sellouts, if they part of our community, those dudes are doing his bidding. So when you step up in front of the bench and they go, oh well, I don't care, like the Supreme Court did with Ledbetter. Yeah, you're right, but we ain't gonna give you what you deserve. Until Gainsbourg stepped in and fixed it. Who's gonna be your Gainsbourg? Because your vote don't count. You just saw. You're in a situation in which you just saw clearly what happens when you don't vote. And I'm not telling you to vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm telling you to vote for the person who you can most manipulate so you can get them to do your work until you get somebody in play to do their work. You get a young man who's studious, much like myself, argumentative. I'm not saying I'm studious because I was not, period. Full stop. Let's go. You find you a young person who's studious, who's a history buff. He's willing to debate anything. You start talking to that young man about being into politics and you want to change the world. Now that young man has that in his mind, he's growing up thinking, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to change the world, I'm going to change the world. And in 20 years, he's running for office and he's doing our bidding. You get a young lady in the same position. Now you got the next Thurgood Marshall. Now you got the next Kamala Harris. You got a kid who's tearing up stuff around the house, always taking things apart. Now you got a person who you're going to point them towards technology. You got a little kid that's doing, who's into science, and that's the gory stuff entertains him. Now all of a sudden, you got our next doctor or scientist. This is what we need to be doing every single day. Your nieces, nephews, cousins, grandsons, granddaughters, what have you. Because if we don't start setting up for 2050 today and then work backward, we will be in bondage. Understand that. We will be in bondage because anytime you got a dude like this white nationalist, fascist sitting in office who clearly lies, and you have his base supporting the lies, saying anybody would lie in that situation, you are in trouble. You are already, and I'm going to keep saying this, you are already in a white nationalist settler colonistic project. That's what you're in. The only way to get out of it is to fully engage. Now, if we do this, what I'm asking for the next 10, 12, 15 years, and we are exactly where we are, then we, as guess what, 7 years into that 15 to 20, we realize we wasting our time. And then we go to plan B. But until we put 10 fingers, 10 toes into the action, We cannot say something is or is not going to work. I'm just saying, man,